a very good evening to all of you who've chosen to join us today at 4 p.m. for TV47 at 4. My name is Wakio Mzenge, and let's get started with the stories that truly matter to us. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called for greater global solidarity in combating Ebola, saying pandemics transcend borders and cannot be contained by any country acting alone. Speaking during the celebration of the 250th anniversary of United States independence in Nairobi, Mudavadi urged countries to embrace collective action over isolationism. He commended the United States for partnering with Kenya in the country's Ebola preparedness and response efforts. He said Kenya has screened more than 168,762 people to date, with no Ebola cases recorded.
Kenya has cumulatively screened 168,766 individuals to date. And so far, no case of Ebola has been recorded. We shall continue implementing these proactive measures for as long as it takes.
Safina Party leader Jimmy Wanjigi today met former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua at his Wamunyoro home. Gachagua, who shared photos of the meeting on his Facebook page, said their consultations focused on the country's liberation agenda and the formation of the 6th administration, which he described as a critical mission. He further praised Wanjigi, saying he has greatly benefited from his insights and vast experience in the formation of governments. Now, the Nyamira Deputy Clerk and Finance Director Leonard Nyamasege, along with 6 others, was arrested by Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC) detectives after allegedly hiding inside a ceiling. Detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission brought a months-long manhunt to an end after pulling the suspects from their hideout in a ceiling. Nyamasege, alongside 6 co-accused, faces economic crimes charges. Authorities allege the group orchestrated a major breach of public procurement procedures, fraudulently acquiring about 30 million Kenya shillings through the scheme.
Hiyo time yote ni CCTV ikimulika and alikuwa anapanda.
Now let's move to our courts, where Kibera Law Courts has on Tuesday directed that 8 Utumishi girls facing charges linked to a deadly fire on the 28th of May 2026 should be referred to as subject minors instead of suspects during legal proceedings. While issuing the ruling, Justice Diana Kavedza emphasized the need to protect the rights of children who are facing criminal proceedings. Appearing before Justice Diana Kavedza at the Kibera Law Courts, the 8 have pleaded not guilty to the murder charges of 16 students who lost their lives during the inferno. The judge emphasized the need to protect the integrity of the trial, warning against trial by media, public, also warning that the trial will not be done by media, either public pressure and premature conclusion. The prosecution opposed the release of the subject minors on bail, arguing that there are compelling reasons to keep them in custody pending trial. It described that alleged offense as extremely serious, noting that the 16 students lost their lives and that first responders continue to receive psychological support due to the traumatic nature of that particular incident.
The 8 of you, on the night of 28th of May 2026, at Utumishi Girls at Gilgil Sub-County within Nakuru, you jointly murdered Fortune Aimaya Losike. Subject 1, Subject 2, Subject 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Meanwhile, the Kirinyaga governor, Anne Waiguru, has condemned the rising cases of abductions targeting activists, saying they are damaging the government's image and making it difficult for Kenya Kwanza leaders to defend the government at the grassroots. Waiguru says the abductions contradict President William Ruto's pledge to end the practice and are eroding public confidence in the government. She warns that the incidents are undermining the environment needed to implement government policies and the country's development agenda, calling for swift action to end the trend and restore public trust.
Tafadhalini, do your job. Kwa sababu munafanya kazi yetu iwe ngumu sana. Kutetea serikali kama hiyo ndio itakuwa kila siku ni news. Ikifanyika as an independent policing authority, please do your job. Wafanye kazi wasifanye? Wafanye kwa sababu they have all the tools necessary. Sisi hatuko huyo upande. Na mimi nimesema kama mama, hakuna siku I can be on the side of abductions. I can never be. Sindio? Na hakuna mtu anaweza kuwa hiyo upande. Kwa hivyo kama kuna
And Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro has criticized the government over what he says is inadequate funding for schools, arguing that the capitation released to learning institutions, the capitation that has been released to learning institutions is well below required amount. He was speaking during a bursary issuance event in Gaturi. Nyoro claimed schools have received 11,000 per learner instead of the expected 22,000 per learner, despite government assurances that funds were disbursed on time. He warned that the funding shortfall is straining schools' operations and could affect the quality of education, urging the government to immediately release the remaining capitation.
Wasikote hata elections ya next year. Wasichezee elimu ya Wakenya. Kama kazi imewashida, sio lazima hata unagoja mpaka election. Unafanya kazi yenye inatakikana mara hiyo hiyo ama unakwenda. Kwa sababu tukicheza na elimu, hata tujeke barabara, hata tuweke kabro, na wanafunzi hawako shuleni, ama wanasoma na hofu, ama quality ya elimu imeenda chini kwa sababu ya pesa kukosa kutumwa, tutakuwa tunaharibu future ya Kenya. Hii mambo ya
Away from that, Kenya has taken a very major step in regional trade by officially hosting the launch of 2 massive international manufacturing and graphics business platforms aimed at boosting continental industrial connectivity. Under the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, the country unveiled Africa 4P and Sign and Graphics Africa. These platforms connect global manufacturers, suppliers, investors, buyers, and policymakers to strengthen economic value chains. This strategic Pan-African initiative will accelerate industrial growth across multiple markets. It will do that in multiple markets, and as well as grow across multiple markets, culminating in a major collaborative exhibition scheduled to take place from January 18th to 20th in 2027 at Sarit Center Expo, Nairobi.
Research over the years told us something clear, that Kenya's packaging and print market is among the fastest growing on the continent. And our graphic design sector is expanding just as quickly. Yet, despite that growth, there is no dedicated trade platform for this industry that exists early in the year.
In terms of government role on matters of industrialization, it's a facilitative role. For example, when an investor comes and he faces some challenges which require policy interventions, that is where we come in to ensure if it's a policy interventions, we engage with the right regulatory agency to ensure that they are not unduly affected.
And Amnesty International has released a new report documenting widespread human rights violations in Sudan. The report accuses the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, of committing atrocities and unlawful killings in El Fasher, North Darfur state. According to Amnesty International, RSF attacks deliberately targeted civilians based on their ethnicity, resulting in mass casualties and forcing thousands to flee their homes. The organization concludes that the RSF committed war crimes in El Fasher and surrounding areas between mid-2024 and late 2025. Amnesty International has called for an immediate ceasefire in Sudan and stressed the need for an international force to protect civilians.
No doubt that what is being described, including crimes against humanity of extermination, persecution on the basis of ethnicity and gender, some of the crimes committed may constitute genocidal crimes.
One thing that remains common, there is a common denominator: civilian suffering. Parties to the conflicts are specifically targeting civilians, including, as we have included in this report, on ethnic lines. And therefore, civilians are going to continue to bear the brunt of the conflict, and thus our recommendations for ceasefire and a peacekeeping.
The Ministry of Health has raised an alarm over the growing circulation of counterfeit medicines in the country, revealing that drugs used to treat erectile dysfunction, commonly known as Viagra, are among the most falsified due to high consumer demand. The Pharmacy and Poisons Board warned the problem extends far beyond Viagra. Medicines used to treat HIV and AIDS and drugs used in dialysis are also increasingly being counterfeited and finding their way into the Kenyan market, exposing patients to potentially life-threatening risks. The warning comes as the government launches a renewed crackdown on substandard and falsified medical products, with Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale pledging tougher enforcement and closer collaboration among agencies to stem the growing threat.
WHO estimates that approximately 1 in every 10 medical products in low and middle income countries is either substandard or falsified. Behind every statistic is a person whose recovery is delayed, a family facing unnecessary costs, and a healthcare worker striving to provide the best possible care with medicines that do not perform as they should.
I am shocked to see that we have fake HIV test kits in the market. You know what that means to your youth, to our youth.
No more renting of your license. That I think came up. You can't rent your license. You can't say in Nairobi and your license is used in Turkana.
From Matters Health, we move to the Auditor General has raised fresh concerns over widespread irregularities in the management of public land by national and county government institutions. Auditor General Nancy Gathungu says audits continue to reveal public entities occupying land without ownership documents, while some public land has been grabbed by private developers. At the launch of the National Land Commission's Guide on Land Use and Management Plans, this was happening earlier on at the launch of the National Land Commission's Guide on Land Use and Management Plans. NLC Chairperson Dr. Abdullahi Ghaffar urged public agencies to prepare land use plans to curb land grabbing, as Commissioner Esther Mzenge called for closer collaboration with counties to strengthen land governance.
We have pockets of lack of clarity on who owns which parcels of land between the national government, the county government, state-owned enterprises, and in some cases, individual owners, that is the citizens. And when there is this lack of clarity, and that's why I insist so much on ownership documents, then it means that it is free for all. That you will find land that is earmarked by an individual for development, a county can come in and acquire that land, either forcibly or by convincing the individual that they need that land. Then it takes years to compensate that individual for the private land. Then you have also the conflicts between the national and county governments because of the competing needs for development. National government wants to...
A Milimani Chief Magistrate's Court has allowed the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI to detain a woman for 3 days as investigations continue into allegations that she operated an X account that tracked President William Ruto's flights. The DCI had sought to detain Halima Ngache for 7 days at Muthaiga Police Station, arguing that detectives needed more time to investigate an alleged offense of cyber harassment under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. Investigators told the court that the X account at Scolard_Man City allegedly posted the president's flight details and route maps, raising concerns over his security.
The user went ahead to post that now the president had left Norway for Finland. Your Honor, similar information was also posted on 25th of June 2026. Flight information has caused apprehension.
And that wraps up TV47 at 4. My name is Wakio Mzenge. Please stay tuned because World Cup Extra is right about to start.